What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And a real quick housekeeping note, if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble or BitChute, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all the podcast platforms out there, please hit that follow and subscribe button. Help us bring up our numbers so we can bring you more interviews like the one I'm about to have right now with Miss Holly Doscher of Danny Wimmer Presents. You're the marketing director, correct? Or director of
Yep.
marketing
Yep.
of Danny Wimmer Presents.
Tomato.
And so yeah, I last year at Inkcarceration, I got to meet Mr. Wimmer and Mr. Hayes, and it was a pleasure to finally meet them with the years that I've been attending, and just to thank them for always putting on a stellar festival for us, and especially for what they do for the military members. And Mr. Hayes introduced me to one of your own who is transitioning from the Navy and now part of the DWP family, Pat Otis, and connected us. And I was able to have him on the podcast and get his story. And I thought this year, I was shooting to try and get Mr. Hayes himself on, but he wasn't available. But I'm glad that I finally got to put a face with a name here, because we've been corresponding for years now, for the festivals.
Any of those tickets you've won via this channel have been through me emailing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyways, like real quick, when I have somebody on for the first time, I like to get a little quick background. So originally, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, I don't know. I think if you ask my pops, he would tell you I wanted to be a singer, even though I'm very tone deaf. I used to have a karaoke machine, a guitar. Used to have little sessions for my family all the time. I look back on videos they have of it, and it's god awful. I can't believe they sat through it.
Nice. And then so obviously at a young age, you had a love for music.
Oh, absolutely. My dad has been drumming since he was 9 years old. He's been in a bunch of bands no one knows, but he's opened for Styx and Little Anthony and fun artists.
Oh, okay, great.
So I
And then
share music.
so yeah, so you were exposed to music at a young age. And then when was it like, what were some of the uh, artists that you had taken a liking to growing up?
Line Trio was my favorite band when I was growing up. I love the Eagles. Let's see. If you ask me any day, my favorite artist will change. But growing up, that was primarily it. I loved My Chemical Romance, was really into Bring Me the Horizon in their early days. Even now, their music has just transitioned beautifully over the years. I love their old and new stuff. I have a very eclectic taste in music, from classic rock to indie, hip hop, country. I listen to a little bit of everything.
Nice. And then so like growing up, you said you would do the karaoke machine and play. Did you actually play guitar? Learn how to play though?
Not well, but yes.
No.
Couldn't do anything to show for it today.
No. And then what, like, along, as you were going through high school and then going off to college, what drew you into the world of marketing?
Well, it actually fell in my lap. So straight out of high school, I actually did not want to go the normal college route. I decided to do community college. Didn't really stick with me either. I worked in the cannabis industry. My family at the time had some cannabis companies that they were working with, and I just started being. I'm from California, so it's legal here. So I used to work at a few different places and manage some stores. And then when I wanted out of that industry in 2011, lots of things were changing back then in California and the way medicinal marijuana was structured. And my best friend's mom was looking for a receptionist, and she owns what's called a destination management company. And I was like, well, hey, I'm looking for a job. And she's like, I can't hire you. You're like my kid. So I basically had her have her entire staff interview me. And if they liked me, I could get the job. And what a destination management company does is they basically do anything and everything of whatever type of event there is out there. So if you want a private concert for 2,000 of your employees, let's say it's a corporate event, they facilitate that and book that. They do weddings, banquets, all kinds of things. And then I got bored being a receptionist, very busybody, and basically started asking to get on the field and start working the events more. And we did a lot at House of Blues San Diego. And I had actually was told I was getting let go due to a budget cuts at that company. And my last day working would be at this event at House of Blues San Diego. And this woman was very pregnant that I was working with there. And so I went and asked her and her boss, hey, who's filling in for you when you're on maternity leave? And they were like, well, no one. We don't have any help while she's out. So I said, well, I'm going to be that person. And they interviewed me. Within a week, I was working at Hospital San Diego. Maternity leave was over. I had pressed my stamp. They weren't doing any marketing at the time in the private event sales department. It was just really old school marketing. And I had implemented some changes. And then Live Nation Corporate decided to bring me on to do it for all 50 of their clubs and theaters at the time. And I rebranded the entire Live Nation special events department while I was there, my tenure, moving to LA from San Diego. And had my baby. And he's now 5. So I've been with DWP now 4 years. And one of my friends who formerly worked at Live Nation had been looking for a marketing manager. And basically we were riffing about ideas that she had in some campaigns. I didn't even think of myself as a candidate because I didn't market any shows specifically. It was private events. And she was like, wait, you would be a great candidate because you look at things a little bit differently. You're not specifically trained for show marketing, but you can be trained because you learn fast. So I'm like, well, yeah, like I'll entertain this idea, and met with Danny Hayes and a few other people at DWP. And I had the job within a week there too. And so it kind of just had this transitioning of just knowing the right people and working really hard to get where I am today.
That's awesome. So no, like, I mean, real like college background with that. This was all just, I mean, your college was in the trenches doing.
Basically, I went to like 2 semesters of community college, and then that wasn't working for me. And when I was working at dispensaries, I thought, this isn't a career. I should probably find something quick that I can get a career out of. So I went to dental assisting school. I'm actually a certified dental assistant. I lasted maybe 2 months in the field and absolutely hated it. Was not for me. Went back to the dispensary world, and that's when the rest happened.
And then what would you say, like, because you had mentioned that, you look at things from a different perspective and you kind of restructured things. Like, what do you think helped contribute to, you being able to see kind of things like differently and just, have that hard charging ability to kind of take things on and make it your own?
I don't know necessarily what charges that. I think it's in my DNA. I'm a workaholic and I'm competitive. I like to win. And in the concert space, we need to sell tickets and have the biggest, best events possible. We are known for having some of America's largest festivals in the United States. And I like to make sure that we remain that way year after year and exceed our goals every single year. So that's a big driver for me. And another one is, as a music fan, going to our events. My first festival actually with Danny Wimmer Presents, not as an employee, was Aftershock 2017. And I was pregnant, helping my now husband with an activation. He was working for Blackcraft at the time. And I fell in love with the space and just the energy that all the fans felt there. And it's just amazing. And knowing that you have a part of bringing that energy and all these fans that have the same frame of mind around music. They're all centralized and loving and unified the artists that they're going there to see. And some are even just going there because they love our event so much and they love the feeling that they get when they're on site. And I love being a part of that. Being on site, watching it all unfold is one of the best feelings.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you just, everything you were saying, I totally connect with. I mean, I started, I think with, Rock on the Range, attending as media in the media tent, and getting an opportunity to interview the artists and stuff, just establish a working relationship with Christine and Selena. And now it's just like, I love them to death. It's like, their family. I can email them if I have any like questions or whatever anytime. But going to the events, it was like for me, I've always been a music fan, and I used to do local promotions here in Cleveland back in the day. And then, I kind of had I'm open on my podcast. I'll be approaching 14 years sober coming up March 1st, but I had some issues back. You hang out with the rock stars and you do rock star stuff sometimes, and I would get caught up. But after I got sober, it was like what would, you know, going to shows, like dealing with like, social anxiety. I'm also a veteran that struggles with PTSD and stuff like that. So going to the events, and having, wanting to enjoy the music and stuff like that. But sometimes, my anxiety or whatever would get the better of me. But every time I went to the Danny Wimmer events, it's just like there was like a calming energy, especially the way everybody treated you backstage. You were like, you were part of the crew, or back in the media tent. And then, it's just like a family environment. And what I've really loved too, being a veteran, is how they always support the military, how Danny Wimmer and them always recognize the military and support the military. And it's just been, I look forward so much to when you guys come through Ohio. Like I was, we went through the pandemic. So then, Rock on the Range had become Sonic Temple, and then it was gone, you know? And then I was just like, oh no, what are we going to do? And, so he got involved with my friend Dan Jansen with Inkcarceration, and Inkcarceration has been amazing, especially this past year. Like I said, I finally got to meet Mr. Wimmer and Mr. Hayes, and put faces on them as well. And you know the so the big excitement for me especially, and I'm sure a lot of music fans, but that Sonic Temple is back this year. So now it's like I feel like a spoiled kid, because here I am from Cleveland, Ohio, and now we got two major Danny Wimmer festivals in my state, in my backyard. So you want to talk a little bit about Sonic Temple and it coming back, and like your involvement marketing and promoting it?
Let me tell you, I am so excited to be back at the historic Crew Stadium, formerly Map Free. It was my very first show I ever marketed with Danny Wimmer Presents. I started, I think, November 5th, 2018, and we had announced Cyber Monday that year. So I had a few weeks to learn the ropes and get ready to announce and go head first. I was doing all the social media at the time when we announced that festival its first year. All of the traditional media marketing. I think that's how you and I were connected, to do some radio giveaways. It's been so exciting to have it back. It was sad that our whole world was flipped upside down when the pandemic happened, and it's slowly building it back. I think Hayes has talked about this on Hazed and Confused, that we couldn't just come back with our full portfolio right out of the pandemic. We need to start slow and kind of start readjusting our festival portfolio back. And it's just amazing to be revealing Sonic Temple's lineup last week. Fans are super excited. We're already several price levels in on certain ones. We're sold out for Sunday Field GA and VIP. So that excitement's there. We have Foo Fighters coming, which they were there in 2019. So amongst so many other artists, but I'm really excited for Foos. I love them so much. I think that Sunday of 2019 that they performed, I remember we had some weather that day, and we had some evacuations. I don't know if you were there, if you remember.
Yep.
But one of my favorite memories is closing out the show, and we actually had it was Refused and the Distillers pop up at Ace of Cups, and my former marketing director Lindsay and I ran over there to go make sure that show is getting set up smoothly and see what the pulse was and how many fans showed up there. It was free for anyone that had their Sonic Temple wristbands. An hour in, Dave Grohl shows up with a couple other bandmates, and then we see him over at the bar, and he was just there to watch the shows. A surreal experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I'm definitely very excited about this lineup this year. Tool will be back, and then Kiss on the Never Ending End of the Road tour part. We'll be able to see them again. And like you said, Foo's been one of my, I've been a huge Foo Fighters fans, and we lost Taylor, and that was tragic. But I'm glad to see them continuing to honor his memory, and continue playing that music that connects with so many of us.
Who else in the lineup are you excited to see?
What's that?
Who else in the lineup are you excited to see?
Well, I'm really excited to see Deftones, because I have not seen them live yet. and it's like I think they were supposed to come the year it got canceled, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing them live. I've been a fan of their music for a while, and I've just never had the opportunity to see them live. So they're definitely on that top of that list.
They put on an incredible show. I'm excited for you to witness that.
Yeah. And then now I think in the past though, you've only done 3 nights, so now you've added a fourth this year. Is that going to be like a permanent thing, or is that kind of just like, hey, we're back and we're going to go
I
extra?
would anticipate it to be permanent. We, coming out of the pandemic, added a fourth additional night to Welcome to Rockville, Louder Than Life, and Aftershock. And then we last year brought Bourbon and Beyond back within our portfolio, and that became a 4-day festival. So it's a definite trend, and it's here to stay.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's it's definitely like, instead of planning vacations with the family, that is almost like a mini retreat for me to get. I remember when the first one came back after, everybody and it happened on the anniversary of 9/11, and it was awesome what Danny and them did to honor that memory as well at Incarceration. But that that first festival back after everybody being, like locked down or, just anxious to get back out was like, it was therapy. It was like going away to like a spa retreat almost for me mentally, even though it was all heavy music and a bunch of headbangers and people getting crazy, but it was just like, it was so needed and it was so awesome. And that's just the atmosphere that you guys provide. And I love it.
Yeah, coming out of the pandemic, the excitement was so real for all of our shows that we announced. But Incarceration in particular was the first of the portfolio that we announced the lineup for that year, and it sold out within 9 days. I think it was my fastest sellout in my career, and it was so exciting to watch and seeing how fast prices were flipping and how many tickets were left, and then all of a sudden none were left.
Yeah, it was like that. The animals were restless. They needed to get out, and people were like, you know, and what was beautiful about that whole weekend as well, is there's a bunch of people just like letting loose, getting crazy, all this pent up, whatever from being locked down and just being able to let out, it, it was all like, safe. Nobody was like, like insane, but just getting all that aggression out and stuff like that, and just letting loose and having a good time. But then when they did the, can we have a moment of silence for all those we lost on September 11th, you could hear a pin drop. I happened to meet this gentleman who was a New York City police officer in the VIP area who was there on 9/11, and I struck up a relationship with him. And hearing his stories and his conversation, it was such an amazing weekend for me to hear his story. And then as a veteran, see everybody like, you know, honor, those we lost. And then I forget what the young lady's name was. She came out and sang the national anthem, and bunch of metalheads tatted up and whatever, everybody taking their hats off, putting their hands across their chest, and why she sang the national anthem. And I got choked up, man. I had tears running down my face. It was just amazing after the chaos that our country had been through, to be united under the Danny Wimmer Music Festival banner, and our country, it was a beautiful event.
There's so many beautiful moments at our events. Backstage, I don't think many people know about this. They might see a couple social posts on our events, but we work with a program called Living the Dream. And it's terminally ill fans under the age of 35 that we produce dream days for. So from moments like that to like what you just were sharing about the 9/11 tribute, to having backstage experiences where we get to curate dream days for fans to meet their favorite artists and get one-on-one experiences with them. We have so many magical moments that most people don't even get to see. So there's sets where you have your most unforgettable moments. I think everyone has the most heartfelt moment at a DWP show. Doesn't matter which show, which festival of ours it is. Someone has something that meant something to them. I know for me, related to Sonic, Papa Roach's Firestarter tribute. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I just have never felt energy like I did standing at the soundboard for that show, feeling everyone around the stadium surrounded near me. I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember that as well. And I remember because usually when you come through Columbus, when it was Rock on the Range, it was around Armed Forces Day weekend. So there was always a special little tribute to the military on those days. And I remember Nita Strauss coming out and playing the national anthem on her guitar, and how amazing that was as well. Just so many good memories that I get to enjoy now sober, which is an added bonus. But just I mean, if anybody hasn't been to a Danny Wimmer Presents festival yet, I highly recommend, you know, investing in that weekend for yourself and friends, and just enjoying some amazing music. Um now the I met Pat Otis through Danny Hayes, who's part of the Skill Bridge program that you guys work with veterans transitioning out of the military to work with Danny Wimmer Presents. Are you involved with that at all?
I'm not involved with Skillbridge. No, that's Danny Hayes and our HR manager Casey lead that. There might be some other people on our team that spearhead that, but Pat is actually, I'm really pleased to share this since you haven't talked to him in a while. He is full time with us. He's out of Skillbridge and fully DWP family.
That is awesome. That is good news. I love to hear that. Yeah, Pat is. It was an honor to meet him. Like I was Navy as well, so when I met him and found out he was a Master Chief in the Navy, which was higher up than I made during my time in the Navy, so I kept calling him Master Chief. He's like, "Please, call me Pat, call me Pat." And I'm like, "All right, I'm sorry," just ingrained in me. But I knew talking with him what a diamond in the rough that you guys had. And I think I even said something to Mr. Wimmer when I met him. I'm like, you guys got something special with him. So I'm glad to hear that now he is fully on board, part of the team.
He's awesome to work with. It's such a joy to have him on our team. And I actually work remote still. So when I go up to the LA office, it's great to see his face. Our last announce last week was Sonic. He was in the conference room with us on our war room, is what we like to call it. So we have everyone who's remote or not able to be joining in the conference room that day on a big screen. And anyone in the office that wants to join can come sit with our marketing team when we launch everything and see it all play out. But he comes to every single launch.
Yeah. Well, he's got some, experience with war rooms and stuff. So good to have there involved. Now, speaking of that, so being a marketing director, maybe I could pick your brain. I originally had this idea in my head for this pitch I was going to give Mr. Hayes, but since he's wasn't able to join us, but I know he'll be watching. DWP Presents is going to be in my backyard for two major festivals. What would you recommend a pitch for a guy like me, a veteran, retired Navy guy, running a podcast, loves interviewing bands and people and stuff like that? How could I pitch that? Maybe, just maybe, I could be sitting on the couch next to my friend Matt Pinfield at the DWP festivals and getting to ask a few questions of my own to some of the artists that come through that tent. How would I go about pitching that idea?
I would say you have to chat with Matt and see what he's willing to do, because we have our Twitch show. That's what Matt's on site with us for. So we're airing and streaming live, and it's very on schedule. We don't mess with that schedule. I don't even come in, poke my head and say hi. I might stand from afar and observe. I would say work with Christine and Selena and reaching out to artist publicists. That's truly what it is. Christine and Selena, you worked with them for years. They'll route any requests for interviews, and it's being persistent and following up, seeing who you can connect with, making relationships too. You've had access to our media tents before, so you know what the setup's kind of like. It just depends on the artist schedule. I will say that each year it is getting better and better with artists being more comfortable doing interviews. However, it's since the pandemic, if you remember 2021, there was almost nobody artist wise in our media space. It was basically just a hang space that we had for artists or for our media back of house. Last year, I want to say we had about like 15 artists that were willing to come do interviews, but we did those dedicated bays. So it was very specific people that they were selectively interested in interviewing at that time or working with, but also they had couches to separate them. So it's having that defined space. So I'd say keep checking in. I don't know what this season will look like. It is getting like they are getting more comfortable. They're on tour again. That was in 2021. What it was, hey, we're still in our bubble. We're not leaving our trailer. We go to the trailer, to the stage, back to the trailer, back to our bus. We're gone. Back of house, everyone was in masks still. We still are pretty much masked up around artists specifically. If you're in that artist compound area, even walking through, we've got masks on. So it's up to the comfortability of the artist.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of at Ink, being back there and standing in the background watching the setup and the couch and the streaming. I got to talk with Josh a little bit um but Matt, I actually have been blessed with becoming friends with him. So it would definitely be cool to maybe have that opportunity when you know with the two festivals here in my backyard and maybe get a veteran perspective on a few things in
Yeah, and
that situation.
a lot of it is relationship based too. So people that we're like Josh and Matt have their own friendship. So it's easy for them to go ask artists for interviews. If I go, hey artist, do you want to be on our Twitch show? It's who is interviewing us, when, for how long, what questions. Typically when you propose an interview to someone with the typical questions that they ask, but it isn't as easy as you would think, even for us on our Twitch show, to get those artists that we do have to confirm.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I just thought, I had to shoot my shot. I have it. I
Hey,
have somebody from DWP's ear right here. So,
if you're
I meant to shoot it with Mr. Hayes, but
I'm sure Hayes would have responded, ask Holly. I don't know. He would have said, ask Holly or Jamie. I don't know. I is what I would assume the response would be. That's typically what he likes to do. I don't know if anyone that stays in touch with his Hazed and Confused Facebook page, but I'm always the voice in the background. So if he's ever going live, I'm typically back there helping. So if he doesn't know the answer, I can help him right there.
nice. And then, like, what kind of personal goals then do you have for yourself and for DWP going forward?
So as I said, kind of in the beginning of our chat, competitiveness and sorry, I just got a call. Competitiveness and winning are, which go hand in hand, are right up my alley. I like to see the success of DWP. I want to continue to grow with DWP. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm director of marketing. Next steps are obviously growing from within that. I'm planning on being a DWP for lifer here. And year over year on the festival side and the marketing side is just continue crushing our goals. We've seen last year our biggest attendance numbers since I've been here for 4 years now. And I want to top that this year too, and the next year and the next year, and continue having the largest festivals, specifically in the rock space.
Nice. Well, while especially with the ones here in Ohio, that I will do everything I can to help out and help you guys achieve those goals. It's always been amazing, working with you guys. It's great to finally see you and have a face with the name that I've been emailing, and anything I can do, I'm here to help out because like like talking with Pat and talking with you, that sounds like it's not even a job. It sounds like it's you're part of a family, and just like pursuing your dreams and doing what you guys love, and everybody seems to be helping each other, you know
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. It is truly a family dynamic. Everyone loves for each other and cares for each other here. We have each other's backs. If we have sports analogies, almost like a relay race. So everyone's kind of passing the baton to each other. So we've got our talent team, they curate the lineup, and it goes into this big circle. They pass it on to marketing. Marketing gets it up. And then we pass it on to experience and ops. Then we have the festivals. Festivals, they provide the experience. Our VIP experience team and our operations team are like the heart of our events. They help produce that feeling that we all get, that gives us goosebumps. Besides the artist performing live, they set the stage for us, and for the artists. And then ops passes it back off to talent passes it back off to us, and we just keep seeing that. And when we go on sale with early bird tickets, that we keep seeing more and more fans purchasing early on blind without having lineup because of the experience they had. And so we definitely know that each one of us have an integral role within the company, and it's so important for us to maintain that and all be friends and care for each other.
Yeah, it's I can see it at work when I'm there, and I feel it like an extended, like, cousin, out here in Ohio, and I look forward to the family reunions when you guys come through town. Um, Now I know we're getting short on time, but do you have a couple minutes to answer some of the questions I normally ask my guests?
Sure.
Who are your top 3 musical artists?
Oh, like I said, I could change every single day. If you ask me right now, I have Cloud Kicker on repeat. It's my go-to work music. It's just instrumental music, then followed by Russian Circles, again, instrumental metal music. Um, Top after that would probably have to be Norma Jean, top big favorite, maybe Converge.
Nice. And then, is there a particular song that you feel has inspired you in life that's a go-to on your playlist, especially when you need that extra pick me up?
Ugh, lately, my 5-year he's almost 5, my son has loved Blackbird by the Beatles, and I just love that song so much, and I think it's been giving me a pick me up lately. We listen to it almost every morning on the way to school.
Nice. And then speaking of school, what class do you feel should be mandatory today before graduating high school?
How to do your taxes.
That is definitely like the number one answer I get whenever I ask that question.
They don't teach you that, and all of a sudden, it's all those confusing things. You should be able to learn how to do it yourself instead of going to a tax person.
No, they just kind of start as soon as you turn 18, start mailing you a bunch of credit cards and you think you're getting free money or something. And then, you
Exactly.
know, then you're stuck.
Or maybe you just, like, separate it, so, like, you probably learn a little bit about it in economics, but it's so much other information that maybe they should, like, just silo it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then who are 3 people who've inspired you or you can credit for making you the person you are today?
My mom, for sure, hasn't always been an easy path, but her work ethic has definitely been ingrained in me, and watching her growing up, I think, has really helped shape how I work. Um, Jamie McCurry, our CMO, she is one of my favorite people, and I just really look up to her. She is a boss. If anyone ever gets to meet her, she is just so smart and talented that she's someone I aspire to be. And a third person, it's hard because there are so many people that I love and cherish so much that have such a big role in why I am the way I am. Um, but probably my best friend AJ. She's been in my life since I was 13, and we've been through a lot of things together. And she just reminds me every day to be a better person, and to be a little bit more empathetic. That's probably one of the bottom things on my trait list.
Oh, no, I feel you there, but I've been learning a lot especially getting older and a father of 2 daughters. They've definitely made me get the feels on things that I never thought I would, you know, get all teary-eyed about. Now I'm like a big teddy bear.
I should say my son, but he's just so small. I mean, he's definitely made me who I am now as a mom, but professionally, I have had the same work ethic since I graduated and before even. I used to work in high school.
Gotcha. And then, is there any causes or organizations that you support and encourage others to check out?
I mentioned them earlier. Living the Dream is one of the most special organizations I've worked with. And I've just experienced firsthand how they change people's lives. And I've just literally, they make me tear up almost every single Dream Day weekend that we host. It's just a magical thing watching what they do. I don't know how Casey Quigley is their VP of development, and she hosts and curates the Dream Day weekends, and she's at every single event walking and escorting these guests around and introducing them to their dream artists. And I don't know how she has and does the job that she does because it is so hard.
Gotcha. And then this one it definitely takes you back, and it's one of my favorites to ask. But favorite toy as a child?
Oh, it's probably my karaoke machine.
That's what I was thinking. As soon as I asked it, I was like, okay, probably
Probably.
gonna be the
I
karaoke
can't
machine.
tell you how many videos, my home videos, my dad has of me singing all kinds of things.
Nice. And then any, we've talked about the military quite a bit on here, but any message that you have for our military members currently serving overseas?
Thank you for your service. Keep doing what you're doing for us. You have an unfathomable job that I don't think I could ever do myself. So thank you again for your service. And if you guys ever get a leave and can come to one of our shows, please do. We have military passes via GovX for veterans and any first responder, really. And we can't wait to welcome you with open arms to our home. And thank you for protecting ours.
Awesome. And then before I let you go, any other things that you feel that you could drop or that fans can look forward to at some of the other festivals upcoming?
So I'm not a leaker like on our Twitch show. That's I'll leave that up to Josh Balls and Matt Pinfield and all of them to try to leak things. We did announce Pantera for Inkcarceration. The lineup will be coming soon. That's all I can say. I can't give you a date yet because we haven't shared that publicly. But get ready to buy passes fast if you're buying for Inkcarceration. A lot of fans had so much fun last weekend that we're about 45% sold on our blind. So when we drop that lineup, get ready because passes will sell quickly.
I've already had some friends that are like, oh my gosh, they're already at like level whatever, and only Pantera has been announced so far. I'm like, well, yeah, it's gonna be I mean, what would I guess, with the type of lineup that you have for Sonic, and then you have that environment and Inkcarceration, and Pantera's already been announced. Is there going to be kind of like a difference in genres a little bit? I could kind of see Ink maybe being a little more heavier and aggressive.
It is going to be heavier and aggressive. It's more my lineup. I love the Sonic Temple lineup as well, but when Amanda showed me who was on it, because Amanda's our director of talent, she buys all of our artists and curates with Dan Jansen for the Inkcarceration lineup, who it's going to be. When she showed it to me, I remember I was like physically hitting her, like, oh my God, you have these guys. Oh my God. Oh my God. Which is how I was for Sonic too. So it's, for me, I feel like a kind of split because I love them both so much, but the heavier, like I love heavier music and heavier rock and metal. So
yes, me too.
That for Ink, we'll see a lot of that.
I mean, it's just perfect with that, the reformatory background and everything like that. It's just I'm definitely I've liked what you guys have been doing there thus far, and I'm definitely looking forward to this year's.
I have actually not been to Ink, so maybe I'll make it out this year. It's the one in our portfolio that I have not made it out to. So hopefully,
you have to. That's where
I will. It's on my bucket list for sure.
Just to tour the prison and everything too. Where they filmed Shawshank.
So fingers crossed, because the lineup for me is like my lineup. And I will say there's no crossover between Sonic and Inkcarceration.
Nice.
It's a completely separate lineup.
Awesome. I'm so stoked. We are going to be spoiled here in the state of Ohio, and I thank you guys so much. And Holly, thank you so much for your time and sharing with me today. It was nice to finally put a face with the name, and hopefully I get to meet you in person at Inkcarceration this year.
Or Sonic, or both. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we'll be in touch, talking leading up to these via email and everything. But like I said, once again, thank you so much for your time. And thanks for kind of helping me with my pitch earlier. Mr. Hayes, the ball is now in your court, sir.
Bounce it back to me.
But as Selena and Christine will tell you, I am very persistent, so I will definitely be following up.
I've emailed you for the past few years. I know. You don't even need to go to Christine and Selena. You go to me.
Okay, then you will be hearing from me. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll chat soon.
All right. Thanks again so much. And you enjoy. Hopefully it clears up out there in San Diego.
Thank you. Likewise for you.
All right. Thanks a
Have a
lot.
good one. Bye.
Bye.